Hi everyone, I'm your English teacher Raghavendra. We are into the next video, and let me remind you that in our previous video we stopped at Brutus's soliloquy, and when he completes the soliloquy we hear a loud knock on the door, and Brutus sends Lucius to the door to see who is knocking on the door. And now Lucius comes back, and let's begin from here. Enter Lucius. Lucius says, "Sir, it's your brother Cassius at the door who doth desire to see you." He says that it is his brother because Cassius is Brutus's half brother. Okay, Cassius is Brutus's half brother. That's why Lucius comes and tells Brutus that your brother Cassius is at the door. And he wants to speak to you. He wants to see you. Lucius says, and Brutus says, and Brutus asks him whether he is alone. Look at this. Lucius says, "Sir, it's your brother Cassius at the door, who doth desire to see you." Then Brutus says, "Is he alone?" Lucius says, "No, sir, there are more with him." There are more with him, because Cassius has brought the other conspirators with him. Okay, because they have come to Brutus's house to speak to him and be sure of his support to them. Because the conspirators want Brutus to lead them. Because Brutus's face, that countenance, that face, has the power to change their assassination into something greater than what it is. Understood? Because Brutus's face is like that of an alchemist's face. An alchemist, it is believed, has the power to change the baser metals into gold. Bad things, useless things into useful things, he would change. An alchemist. In the same way, Brutus has the power to change their offense into virtue and into worthiness. That's what in the previous scene Casca had talked about Brutus. Casca had told Cassius about Brutus. He said, Brutus sits high in all people's hearts. Whatever is offense in us, Brutus's face, like alchemy, would change our offense into worthiness and into virtue. Hence, the conspirators know the importance of Brutus leading them. That is why they have come to Brutus's house, to be sure of his support. Look at this. When Brutus asks him, "Is he alone?" the boy Lucius says, "No, sir, there are more with him." Then Brutus asks him, "Do you know him? Do you know them?" Lucius, "Boy, do you know them? You definitely know Cassius, but do you know who those others are?" Then Lucius says, "No, sir, I don't know them, because I couldn't recognize them. Because their faces are covered in their robes. They have, their hats have covered up to their, ears, and half their faces are buried in their cloaks, in their robes." And Lucius says, "So that I could not recognize them by any mark of their face. I couldn't, see their face properly, because their faces are half buried in their cloaks." Cloak is a huge cloth, huge piece of cloth. It is also called a robe, R-O-B-E, because during Roman days, every senator used to wear this Roman toga. Roman toga it was called. It's a huge piece of cloth which used to wind round their body. Roman toga. Look at Lucius. Brutus asked Lucius, do you know them? Then Lucius says, no, sir. Their hats are plucked about their ears. This is a word which doesn't suit the Romans. The word hats. Because only Britishers used to wear these felt hats. Perhaps Shakespeare, uses the word hats based on the British tradition. That's why Shakespeare makes Lucius use that word hat. Lucius says, no, sir. Their hats are plucked about their ears and half their faces buried in their cloaks that by no means I could discover them by any mark of favor, he says. I couldn't discover them. By no means I may discover them by any mark of favor. Favor means face. I couldn't see any mark of their face. That means I couldn't clearly see their faces. They were all half buried in their cloaks and their hats were plucked about their ears. They came very secretly. Perhaps the conspirators do not want to reveal their face to others. And it is night and they are covering their face. And is it not shameful on their part, dear friends, to cover their face when it is night? The same thing Brutus says here. During nights, all evil things are free at work during night. Because God's work is done only during daytime. The Bible very clearly says that. God's work is done during the daytime. And all evils are let free only at night. And so, when evils are free at night, why should these conspirators cover their face? Because even the conspirators have come there to plan an evil thing. What is that evil thing? To assassinate Caesar. A bad thing. Evil means bad. And all these bad people should freely move about when it is night. But the conspirators are not doing that. They have buried their faces. Half their faces buried in their clothes. Why the hell should they do it? This is the question put by Brutus. Look at that. When evils are most free, he says, oh conspiracy, are you ashamed to hide your face even from darkness? When there is darkness, nobody would recognize your face, yeah? But still, if you could cover your face, that means that you are ashamed of showing your face. Why should you be ashamed when evils are so freely moving about when it is night? And he addresses conspiracy. Here, conspiracy is personified as somebody very devilish and evil. Look at this. When Lucius says he couldn't recognize them, Brutus asks him to, permit them to enter his house. Brutus says, let them enter. Then Lucius goes away to open the door for all the conspirators. Now Brutus has another soliloquy. Look at this soliloquy. I'll read out the entire soliloquy. Keep your textbook open and go through all these lines, dear friends. It is Act 2, Scene 1. This is Brutus' soliloquy. He says, they are the faction. They are the faction, oh conspiracy. Because let me tell you one thing. During Shakespearean days, there were no mics. And every character had to shout at the top of his voice, at the top of her voice, to make the audiences or spectators, hear what they are saying. Today we have collar mics and all these things, and soft things can be spoken softly, and emotional things could be spoken loudly. But not during Shakespearean days. They never had mics, they never had hanging mics, they never had collar mics, they never had science and technology at all. Hence every character had to shout. And so I am shouting here. Don't mistake me. Look at this. He says, Brutus says, they are the faction. Oh, conspiracy. Shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night when evils are most free? Oh, then by day where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask thy monstrous visage? Seek none conspiracy. Hide it in smiles and affability. For if thou part thy native semblance on, not Erebus itself are dim enough to hide thee from prevention. Look at this soliloquy. At the end he says, not Erebus itself are dim enough to hide thee from prevention. What is Erebus? E-R-A-B-U-S. Hell. Hell is supposed to be completely dark. And I will interpret every line for your understanding. Let us begin from Brutus's first line in his soliloquy. Look at this. He says, he's alone now, he's left alone. He says, oh yes, they are the faction. What's the meaning of a faction? That group of gangsters, that group of conspirators. He says, they are the faction, not fraction. It is faction. They are the faction. Then he addresses conspiracy. He says, oh, conspiracy. He's straight away talking to conspiracy. He says, oh, conspiracy. Are you ashamed, thou? Shamest thou means, are you ashamed? That means you should not be ashamed. It is a rhetorical question, A rhetorical question has the answer in the question itself. Look at this. Are you ashamed means you should not be ashamed. The answer is in the question itself. Such questions are called rhetorical questions. Okay. R-H-E-T-E-R-O-T-I-C-A-L. Rhetorical questions. Look at this. He says, oh, conspiracy. Shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by no night? Are you ashamed of showing your dangerous brow means face? Are you ashamed of showing your dangerous face? Who has a dangerous face? All these conspirators, because they are all wicked. Their plans are wicked. Their plans are evil. Their minds are devilish. And they have come there to plan to assassinate Caesar. They have come there to plan this dastardly act. D-A-S-T-A-R-D-L-Y. Dastardly act of murdering Julius Caesar in cold blood, dear friends. Hence Brutus says, shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night when evils are most free? At night evils move so freely. And you are an evil conspiracy. Why the hell do you want to close your face? Hide your face. Are you ashamed? You should not be ashamed, he says. When evils are most free, why the hell do you feel ashamed? If you hide your face even in darkness, then where will you hide your face during daytime? Which cave would be dark enough to hide you when it is daytime? So you can't do it. Be as you are. And you have to hide your devilish heart in smiles and in courtesy, he says. So Brutus wants every conspirator to be a hypocrite. A backstabber always smiles. Every backstabber is honey-tongued. Shakespeare uses these words in Hamlet. In Hamlet, Shakespeare says, one may smile and smile and smile and still be a villain. So he wants every villain to be a smiling villain, because if you smile, nobody would think of you as a devil, think of you as a dangerous man. That is being hypocritical, dear friends. That's why he says we should not try to hide our face even from darkness. If at all you want to hide your devilish feelings, hide it in smiles and in affability. Affability means being courteous. Be very humble. Keep a smiling face and stab people on their back. That's what hypocrites even today do. You would not know who is your friend, who your friend is, and who your enemy is. Everybody smiles. And only after you experience it, will you come to know whether a particular person is your friend or a foe. Understood? That's why Shakespeare teaches all these things to us. Read one play of Shakespeare a year, you will understand what life is. Look at this, he says, "Shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night, when evils are most free? Then by day, when it is day, where will you find a cavern dark enough to hide or to mask your dangerous visage?" Your monstrous visage means face. Okay, during night you have covered your face. What will you do during daytime? This is the question. He is asking straight away conspiracy. He says, "Oh, then by day, where wilt thou find a cavern?" What's a cavern? A cave. Inside a cave, there would be complete darkness. Though it is day outside, inside the cave, everything is completely dark. But still he says, even that dark cave would not be sufficient for you to cover your wicked face during daytime. No dark cave would help you, he says. So, only thing that would help a bad fellow to cover his bad qualities is his smiles and his courtesy. Be a hypocrite, that is enough. You can always wear a smiling face and keep on backstabbing people. Oh, then by day, where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask, to cover your monstrous visage, your dangerous face, your wicked face, full of, wicked plans for a person like, innocent person like Julius Caesar. That's why he says, seek none conspiracy. Don't go in search of masks, in search of anything. Don't seek anything. You seek only one thing, he says. Hide it in smiles and in affability. Look at this. You hide it. What is that it? What does that word it mean? It means your wicked nature, your devilish plans. You hide it in smiles and in affability. Affability means being very friendly, being very courteous, and trapping that person and destroying him by being very friendly with him. Hide it in smiles and affability. Because he says, for if you openly show your wickedness on your face, even the dark hell would not be able to protect you from recognition, from identification. Even hell would not help you. Even the dark hell would not come to your rescue. If you put on your original face, you have to hide your face only in smiles and in affability. That means be a hypocrite, he says. Because, he tells, because, look at the next slide, because if you part, look at the intelligence of Shakespeare. Because, let me tell you one thing, Shakespeare is the greatest communicator of the English language in the entire world. He uses a noun as a verb. Look at this. Path is a noun. Path is a way. Here, the noun path is used as a verb. It says, if you part. What's the meaning of parting? Walking. If you walk, instead of using the word walk, he uses the word path. Every word of Shakespeare is a poem by itself. My professor used to say, every word of Shakespeare is a poem by itself. That's why it's very difficult to understand the language of Shakespeare. And if you once understand his language, you are in heaven, let me tell you, dear friends. For if you part, if you walk, how? With your native semblance on. What is semblance? Feelings. Your original feelings, if you show your original feelings, natural feelings on your face, and if you start walking, nobody can protect you. Nobody can protect you from being identified by people. So a wicked man should hide his wickedness only in smiles, he says. Look at this. For because if you part, if you walk with your native face, with your original face semblance on, not even Erebus itself were dim enough. Erebus in Greek mythology is another name for hell. Not even hell would be dark enough to protect you, to hide you from prevention. Today the word prevention has a different meaning. But according to Shakespeare, the word prevention in this context is identification. Nobody can protect you, conceal you, hide you from being identified by people. If you put on your original face and start walking amidst people, so you can only hide it in smiles and in being courteous. So be a hypocrite if you want to backstab anyone. This is what Brutus tells the world. And this is how hypocrites even today behave. Okay. You would not know that they are digging a grave behind you. You would feel that they are yours, but they would start digging the grave behind you. That is the hallmark of a hypocrite. Then all the conspirators enters. They enter. First enters Cassius, followed by Casca, Decius, Cinna, Metellus Cimber, and Trebonius. Kindly remember the names of these conspirators. There might be a question in examination to mention at least one or two names of the conspirators. So if you could remember all these names, you could mention one or two names and get 1 or 2 marks. The names of the conspirators are Cassius. Of course, he's the brain behind this conspiracy. Casca, Decius Brutus, is a great, cunning, clever flatterer. And then Cinna, and then you have Metellus Cimber and Trebonius. Trebonius, let me tell you in advance, Trebonius is the conspirator who takes Mark Antony away when Caesar is assassinated in the Senate. So Trebonius has the responsibility to take Mark Antony away on some pretext, on some reason, for some reason. Now Cassius comes, and as soon as he comes, he begs Brutus' pardon. He says, Cassius, I think we are too bold upon your rest. Good morrow, Brutus, do we trouble you? I think we are too bold upon your rest. That means, I think you are resting and I think we have come to disturb your sleep. Do we trouble you? Good morning, Brutus. Then Brutus says, why should you trouble you? You will be troubling me only when I am asleep. I have not been asleep, not even today. The entire month I have not slept. Brutus says, I've been up this hour awake all night. I have been up tonight awake all night. Know I these men that come along with you? May I know who these people are who have come with you? Then Cassius says, yes, every man of them. And no man here but honors you. And everyone doth wish you had but that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman bears of you. He says, I am going to introduce every man to you. Every man respects you. And every man wants you to realize how important you are for our country Rome. He says, every one of them. And no man here but honors you. That means every man honors you. And everyone doth wish. Every Roman here has one wish. What's that wish? That you had but that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman bears of you, has of you. Every noble Roman thinks high of you, but you don't know how great you are. And every Roman wants to wish, that you recognize your greatness. And then he introduces every conspirator. He says, this is Trebonius. Brutus says, he is welcome hither. This is Decius Brutus. He is welcome too. This is Casca, this Cinna, and this Metellus. Then Brutus says, they're all welcome. He welcomes all. Then he wants to, he just asks a question which the audience would be able to understand. So that the audiences would be able to understand. Brutus asked them a question. What watchful cares to interpose themselves betwixt your eye and your sleep? What are these watchful cares? What are these worries that are preventing you from sleep? Because it is almost 2 or 3 o'clock early in the morning. And you haven't slept, you have come to meet me. So what is the reason? What is it that is troubling you that has come in between your eye and your sleep, he says. Look at the poetic language of Shakespeare. He says, what watchful cares? Cares are worries. If a person is worried, he can't sleep. He is watchful. That means he would keep his eyes open without sleeping. What watchful cares do interpose themselves, do interfere themselves between your eye and your sleep? May I know your worries? He asks. Then Cassius asks him. Cassius takes Brutus away. Shall I entreat a word with you? Then Brutus and Cassius go separately. They start conversing, whispering between themselves. And there is a conversation amongst the 3 other conspirators. And we'll come to that in my next video. Okay, hope you have understood this. And if you have any queries, you can ask questions in the comment box. Kindly, it is my humble request to every one of you to subscribe to our channel and give a thumbs up liking and share this video with as many students as possible, with as many friends of yours as possible. Okay, thank you. See you in my next video. God bless you all.